For the first keynote, it's a very hot topic. It's on SD-WAN, the fastest growing technology. It delivers quality of service on network connectivity while maintaining cost efficiency, which makes it ideal for all segments. Yet, small businesses remain undeserved. Please welcome Pat Saavedra as he talks about the opportunities for SOHO SD-WAN, the undeserved market. Pat is the driving force behind RabbitRun's innovation and next-generation SD-WAN products. Please welcome the founder and CTO of RabbitRun Technologies. Over to you, Pat.
Great. Thank you very much. I'm ready to go. Let's get started.
Amazing. Sure, Pat.
My name is Pat Saavedra. I'm the founder and CTO of RabbitRun Technologies. Welcome, channel partners and agents. First off, I'd like to commend Canadian channel partners and SOHO Marketing for putting on this wonderful virtual event. Over the next 2 days, you will hear from several keynote speakers and be able to visit many great virtual booths. Now, thank you all for taking the time to hear me speak about SOHO SD-WAN, the markets and RabbitRun Technologies award-winning SOHO SD-WAN solution. There's an immediate opportunity for channel partners and agents within these emerging markets. We will explore this over the next 30 minutes. I'll begin with some background on myself and RabbitRun Technologies, followed by a more in-depth look at the SOHO SD-WAN market for channel partners. We will then review some use cases and talk about selling in SOHO SD-WAN. At the end, we'll present a fun little contest for a $100 certificate, so I hope you stick around. 3 years ago, after a successful career innovating, founding, and perfecting 22 patents in what we now call SD-WAN, I had a change in vision. A new vision that was all about small businesses and entrepreneurs with small office and home office companies. They too needed enterprise-class networking solutions. You know, the kind they can afford to better compete and digitally transform their businesses to thrive in a cloud-native application economy. We saw an underserved market. And to put an analogy on this, it was like an SD-WAN gold rush, with everyone looking for big nuggets to support their large enterprise SD-WAN offerings and customers. And the real innovators were getting purchased by larger players, which slowed their ability to focus on new innovations. Well, what about the small businesses? The ones who need transformation more than anyone. The ones that truly pioneer networking in the most difficult of environments due to lower budgets and greater demand on their internet resources. These applications include voice over IP, video meetings, and access to cloud-native applications that don't run through a head office or corporate data center, but rather connect directly from their site to cloud. We found that this market was underserved and virtually ignored. And then COVID. Yeah, pile that on too. Many, if not most of us, were forced to work from home. I'll just use my home internet for that sales call or to run my support applications and tools. It's great when I watch Netflix or game with my buddies. Well, that didn't work. Getting back to the gold analogy, it's small businesses that make up most of the gold, albeit powdery gold dust and not nuggets. It's still the bulk of the gold in the ground. Small business is and always has been the driver of our economic future. While most SD-WAN companies were focused on enterprise, we began development on a solution that can give the small businesses and home office markets the same enterprise level of product without breaking the bank. To do this, we invented the Metadata Traffic Controller, a new form of agile SD-WAN edge solution that put more of the SD-WAN intelligence on the edge, at the branch, at the small office, and in the home, allowing us to strip away the expensive enterprise parts, the ones that businesses didn't even turn on. You know, bells, whistles, noisemakers. It took a couple of years, and we perfected that. We engineered SOHO SD-WAN, a cloudless implementation, with fail-safe underlays that do such a good job of failing over between each other, you don't drop your live voice calls or video meetings when switching between multiple connections like broadband internet and 4G LTE wireless. An advanced quality of service subsystem designed to make even single link sites experience the best voice and video quality possible by delivering business critical applications ahead of other non-mission critical traffic. And possibly the most important for partners, a zero-touch modem capability that simplifies the install process down to minutes versus hours. Post-install support was improved, making it easier to support the wave of inbound calls UCaaS providers now faced, as well as transitioned, to home networks. I mean, this is like having to support millions of small non-standard networks versus thousands of business-grade office networks. Here, our jump service gets you onto the device at the site where we need to be for any escalation. Okay, let's now look at the market. There's a $9 billion SOHO SD-WAN market in North America for channel partners. Let's break this down into three categories, as you may find yourselves touching on at least one or perhaps even all three. Here we see three categories that, in our opinion, make up the $9 billion SOHO SD-WAN market. The reason for all three is simply that there are not yet any formal studies from larger industry analysts truly looking at SMB and SOHO in this new context. First, we look at SMB IT spend. With over $260 billion total addressable IT opportunity for US small and medium businesses, it is estimated that these small businesses were spending $10 billion on networking equipment alone. This is pre-pandemic. The equipment, like Wi-Fi routers and small LAN switches. Here, we estimate $4 billion worth of SOHO SD-WAN activity from this sector. Next, we look at small, mid-market, and enterprise SD-WAN. Again, pre-COVID, this was the traditional SD-WAN market. Here we see projections up to $30 billion by 2026. In this space, and for SOHO, we look at the 1 to 100 site customers and can extrapolate $3 billion from this sector. And now let's look at remote workers and home office. Here, we're still getting our market bearings. However, there are 58 million small business employees in the United States alone, and it is estimated that 20 to 30% of us will continue to work from home in the years to come. Here we forecast $2 billion from this new sector. SOHO markets are growing, while traditional enterprise markets appear to be shrinking. They will not shrink for long. In fact, we also see great opportunity in the enterprise side as those companies begin to reach down into the SOHO SD-WAN market to start consuming lower cost networking solutions as they try to offset 1 to 2 years worth of downturn due to COVID-19. Today, there's an immediate opportunity for channel partners, whether you're dealing with enterprise customers looking at SOHO SD-WAN for their remote workers, or small businesses looking for home office and small office networking solutions. All these changes in the networking landscape, they're making us revisit market wants versus needs. What they want is enterprise SD-WAN for digital transformation. What they need and can fit their budget is SOHO SD-WAN to improve and maintain digital communications. A good SOHO SD-WAN solution must do both. Let's now dig into some use cases. To get us aligned, the context is site to cloud, not site to headquarters or site to corporate data center or site to site WAN communications. We're talking about new cloud-based applications that are driving small business, and these applications put us in a site to cloud configuration. This is about internet access to these applications from the small office or home office. Use case number 1. Link 1 is a broadband connection, and link 2 is 4G LTE, used as a backup. Now I'm going to focus on the 4G LTE side here for a bit. When it comes to 4G LTE data plans, we used to buy individual plans that were limited to that one SIM card. You paid a monthly fee for a plan that came with a certain amount of data usage and then started over the next month. This was done at every site. Well, thanks to IoT, Internet of Things, the world of wireless data has new options that you can make available to your small business customers. IoT devices typically consume small amounts of data or burst their data usage a few times a month. I mean, that sounds like a backup circuit to me. IoT data plans also include the ability to pool data from all the SIM cards, allowing you to take multiple SIM cards and their data plans, combining them into one big data plan that can share from a pool of aggregated data across all your customer sites. This is great for small office, home office, and remote workers looking for that added stability of being always on with 4G LTE as a backup and without the large monthly wireless data expense across all the sites. So long as you have a well-engineered solution managing this failover, you can take advantage of lower-cost IoT-style data usage plans and direct your pooled data to the sites that need it or have failed over. And please be careful not to leave the site on 4G LTE as a mainline or primary connection after the main broadband circuit returns, or you will leak costly 4G LTE data. Use case number 2. Another use case is dual hardwire internet from 2 different providers. We can use both circuits and direct traffic over both to take advantage of the best each circuit has to offer. Let's say link 1 is a dedicated internet access or DIA fiber connection and very reliable. It has good latency and jitter, but costly. So we only have 100 megabits capabilities on this connection. Link 1 is therefore great for voice and video, but it does not have the download speed of a cable service. However, Link 2 is a cable service with 300 megabits per second download speeds, and its cost per megabit per second is far less than what Link 1 costs, being a DIA fiber access. For this Link 2 connection, we would like all web surfing to have all 300 megabits per second available. This Link 2 connection also needs to take on the business voice and video traffic from Link 1 in a failover event. For both links, we must have well-engineered quality of service that guarantees our voice and video business applications they get through first, no matter how much traffic is passing. A solution like this would need to be engineered in a way that it seamlessly switches between links for traffic steering and during the failover events. Well, these 2 base use cases make up the bulk of the SOHO SD-WAN needs, in our opinion. But there's something else we should discuss when it comes to SOHO SD-WAN, and that is installation and support from the perspective of the channel. Most channels do not control the routers and switches along the network path from the small office the home office, like the service provider modems. We need solutions that can easily install and be managed remotely without having to modify the service provider modems. You know, putting them into bridge mode, having NAT redirects and whatnot going on. As SOHO SD-WAN budgets are much less than enterprise office budgets, we need installations to be quick and simple for both the partner and the end customer. We're talking minutes, not hours. We should not have to deploy techs on site, nor should we have to roll a truck for these installations. That alone can consume major parts of budgets and profits for our partners. In addition, you must have the ability to drop ship product and go and do guided remote self-installs with your customer. Installation's merely the beginning. We now face the possibility of having to support smaller, under-engineered networks, as we talked about before. Partners will be challenged to support small, non-standard networks versus business-grade office networks. SOHO-based solutions must provide cloud-driven management and remote device support to overcome these issues and to keep support times low, all without disrupting the customer for remote assistance each time. Okay. For all of you still with me, we'd like to offer a prize through an online game. It only requires you to tell us a funny story or anything about small office and home office, like what you think of this keynote, a funny story, or any comments. Simply go online, enter your story or comments, and place a virtual business card at our virtual booth. Did I just say that? A virtual business card at our virtual booth. What a show. The winner will be announced at the end of the show. I'll start with one of my stories. How's that? This is one of my favorites. Imagine asking a customer to connect to any port, and what you mean is any port of the ISP modem, only to find out that any port they connected your router to was the data port of a VoIP phone because it was the only free LAN port available. Yeah, this is a true story. It did happen. And our partner did overcome this with a few verification questions to the customer during install, but it made the cut for one of our funniest moments in SOHO installations. Now, before we conclude this keynote, and most importantly, remember, there is new revenue potential for the channel with SOHO SD-WAN that you can sell today. You don't need to hesitate for fear of support and troubleshooting. RabbitRun has focused on making this easy for you to install, manage, and protect your base. For more info, come see us at the booth. And that concludes my keynote, and I thank you all for sharing your time to hear me talk about SOHO SD-WAN. Have a great show.
Thank you so much for sharing the latest trends that are driving small businesses and home markets, Pat. I loved your short story, and thank you again for joining us today.
You're quite welcome. Have a great day and a great show.
You as well. Thank you so much.